Oh, it's fun, crazy. It's painful, but it's wonderful. What is the name?
It's Reusse Unchained.
What the hell?
He's vehicular. Can you see and hear me okay?
Here we go. Now we are having all kinds of problems here. Yes, I'm vehicular out in Apple Valley. I just was at the Valley Buick GM dealers here they did a little tune-up on my wonderful 19 what is it? A 5-year-old Cascade that I drive, 2019 convertible, and it's good for another 30,000 miles.
There you go. The good company man that you are too.
Yes, that's true.
So I just got an email from, I think it's from Bet Online here, and I'm sure MyBookie, our friends, have the same thing, but they put out, so they reminded us what the preseason NFL over/under win totals were for each team, and now they're giving you new win totals after Week 8. And the Minnesota Vikings, who were 8.5 before the season, and what are they now? 3-4 going into their 8th game,
right?
Starting JJ McCarthy. That new number is now 6.5 for the season. Are there? Well, they have to get 4 more wins to hit the over on that. So
we're not that bad, are we? I mean, here's the problem, though. Was not these? Did I not read a stat that their schedule to this point was like almost the easiest, and then now it becomes the hardest? Is that what?
Yes. And most of the teams that you thought were going to be good on paper going forward are still good. And you could say, well, the Ravens. Well, the Ravens are going to get Lamar Jackson back, and they always kind of find a defense midseason. And then there's a couple teams that before the season you said, all right, they're tough but beatable. The Seahawks look better than that.
Yes.
The Bears have kind of clicked a little bit more than most people thought. So
although Caleb looked terrible Sunday,
he did.
They over the weekend, and I still think it's not going to be 6.5. They're going to win more than that, unless they get into the 4 games left. Let's tank it a little bit here and not play anybody and get a better draft choice.
Well, the trade deadline is a week from yesterday, so they could. If they wanted to get, let's say they lose against the Lions and now you're 3-5, and I don't know, there is some Jordan Addison buzz out there, and I can't tell if it's just opposing fan bases and media that are trying to manifest it, or if they would actually do something like that. But
well, how about the report yesterday? I don't know where it started, that they've called Atlanta about Kirk. Did they not watch Sunday's game? Kirk looked horrible. He hasn't played, and they're not going to give him to you for nothing, are they? You'd have to take part of this. Do they really want to kick away $5, $6, $7 million of cap room the last half a year to have Kirk? You got to play JJ, and for the rest of the season, and if he gets hurt, then have Brett Ripien or somebody come in and play.
They actually just like an hour ago they just signed a new quarterback because they need a third quarterback.
Who was it?
And
Desmond Ritter or whatever his name is?
No, they didn't bring Desmond Ritter back, but it is a guy with playoff experience.
Okay.
If you remember, I think it was 2020.
Spurs didn't win? No,
it's not. It's John Wolford, he's 30 years old.
Okay, yeah.
He actually, so when Kevin O'Connell was with Sean McVay's Rams.
Yes, I remember him. Didn't he?
He started a playoff game.
Yes. Did they win?
I don't think so. No, because then Jared Goff had to come in.
Isn't he kind of a runner? I thought he was kind of a runner, if I remember.
He'd be running for his life with this offensive line.
Well, we still don't know. Now, if both tackles practiced Monday, are they going to get them both back? But then again, it's kind of, or was that just if we'd practiced, they would have been available practice? Was that?
Yeah,
I think
so.
Things?
I don't think they didn't have to put out an official injury report for Monday. They did some stuff on Monday, but it's all very mysterious. Today we will know the status officially of Darisaw and Brian O'Neill. But John Wolford has made 4 or 5 starts in the NFL. He was with Kevin O'Connell as a coordinator
Yes.
in LA, but he hasn't played a game in like 3 years in the NFL.
Is
But he
he
knows how to speak the language of the system, so he's in the
okay?
building now, I guess.
Was he? But he was not with any team, even in training camp this year.
He
Or is he
was he
just?
released somewhere? Let's see
I don't
here.
know. Yeah,
John
I
Wolford.
remember him playing, and you know why I remember? I had never heard of him when he played that playoff game. I never knew he existed.
He
So,
was with, so I think he's been collecting dust this year. He was with the Buccaneers in 2023, like practice squad or something. And then Jaguars, or as a backup maybe, Jaguars in 2024. So he's been with, wow, before that, he was with the Jets in 2018, undrafted out of Wake Forest. And then the Arizona Hotshots in 2019. That is that was an AAF, the Alliance of American Football team
okay.
in 2019.
You know what?
Rick Neuheisel was the head coach.
I get the impression they're going to wait to see what happens in Detroit. And if they would somehow win, they're 4-4. They're back thinking about the playoffs, and then they might go get do something, spend something, 6th-round draft choice or something to get a backup veteran quarterback. But if they get beat by Detroit, then they're probably just backing in, don't you think? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this and they're right now I think they're 9.5 point underdogs in this game, and you're facing Aiden Hutchinson. This is a really bad time, but there's no good time to throw. It's been a year and a half. You have to play JJ McCarthy and see what
Yes.
you have.
Yes.
It's not
And
ideal, but
now, by the way, watching him, Hutchinson, off and on for the last 2, 3 games, him getting hurt last year might have cost them winning the Super Bowl because that guy is a relentless monster, isn't he?
yeah, he also just hot off the presses like a half hour ago just signed a new contract that I think
Really?
reset the market. Let's see what the
Ooh,
contract is. Well, Myles Garrett reset the market at like 40 some $1 million a
yeah.
year. But yeah,
Oh,
he just signed a new contract like a half
wow.
hour ago.
Okay. Well, what they got to be capped out to the max there, don't they? Detroit, they can't have any money left.
It's 4 years, $180 million.
Ooh, man,
So
man.
45 million a year. 45. You got the Kirk Cousins contract. 45
Wow.
million dollars a year.
Well,
Wow.
that Dallas Turner has dollar signs in his eye now. Maybe he'll become a little brighter than he was. Hey, has he gotten fined? By the way, did we hear anything about?
I don't know if he got fined. That is the type of play that's pretty textbook that would take some money out of your pocket
Yes,
for sure,
yes.
though.
But maybe they feel so sorry for the guy. They just said, he's punished. He's been punished enough. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I listened to your post your about 50 minutes after the last loss and the post game, and they were a little down in the dumps. One guy came up with a positive spin about something, but man, they were a little down in the dumps. Your regular crew.
I thought the most entertaining part of that post game show was the guy that was like taking a water break at the bar doing pull tabs. I don't know if you caught that part.
Oh yeah, the pull tab guy. He does he always call in doing pull tabs?
First timer said, "Hey, if the season continues to turn sideways, we would probably just like have that guy on. We would leave altogether, and he could just rip pull tabs for 2 hours on camera." What would you if it's like second week in December and the Vikings are six games under 500? Would you rather watch us complain about them or that guy rip pull tabs? I think
I
it's pretty
don't.
close.
I don't know. I don't know which I'd prefer, but
By the way,
say,
Jeff Okudah is another. So they tried to do the Sam Darnold thing on defense with Jeff Okudah, who
yeah,
was the third overall pick by the Lions. So a little bit of a
yeah.
revenge game. We were looking into the deep dive statistical department. So he's their third cornerback, and they've tried to hide him a little bit because they don't
Hmm.
fully trust him. But we are 2 months into the season, and only once has a targeted pass at Jeff Okudah been incomplete. So
That's that's a bad sign. That means he might not. Is there anybody practice squatty that would be active instead of him? Is there another cornerback
Well,
that?
they had. I think he's actually on the 53. That Dwight McLaughlin, who is the one of the big undrafted free agent SEC player from a couple years
Okay.
ago, big bodied. He's a big, like, long cornerback, and he's had a couple good camps. And I kind of thought, oh, maybe he's the next man up. But they only really play mostly two cornerbacks and then a bunch of either safeties or linebackers. It's not working as well as
No,
last year.
no, it isn't. So KOC, does he do his? He did his thing yesterday, right? Or does he do it today? Is today his main
He
press conference?
today is the main one. He did the hard hitting KFXN radio
Okay.
Paul
Okay.
Allen sit down yesterday. Yeah,
Hmm.
and
Oh,
where
I'm
he
sure.
basically said, like, and he didn't exactly face Roger
Yes,
Clemens
he
fastballs,
didn't get grilled probably. Yeah.
but he basically said, hey, Carson wanted to play, and based on our circumstance, we have no regrets about throwing him out there to die. So,
All right. Hey, you know what I want to bring up? And Score North would never do this, but I wrote a Fleck column today, right? Okay. And the newspapers, back when we relied on print, actually wrote headlines that had something to do with what was in the column, right? That they pretty much. But we've pretty much now gone like everybody else in digital. Like let's say that your Microsoft pops up and there's some of this, Caitlin Clark, comments, shocking news from Caitlin Clark, and then she changed tennis shoes or some damn thing.
yeah.
So today we are very big on me saying that the Fleck, I got to use the word, mediocrity is we're going to struggle to get past mediocrity, which is never used. The word is never used. It was basically dinging him for uh, playing prevent offense when they get behind in the fourth, trying to kill. We had
Yeah.
the game a couple of years ago where they started prevent offense in the end of the third quarter when they were only behind 24-3 because he didn't want to get humbled. So that was it. But we're now into so, and then you see the comments, and they're all comments about whether they were mediocre or not, which meaning they only
So
read the headline. Nobody read the next.
so you wrote an article, and the headline misrepresents the substance of the piece, and then there's a debate in the
A
comment
debate,
section
yes, right.
about
100 and some comments arguing about whether he's been mediocre or not. The headline says, "In Fleck era, rising above mediocrity is a struggle." Okay, we went from a great performance against Nebraska to a horrible performance against Iowa, so maybe somebody got twisted in there. But I was just making fun of the fact you got the Chicken Jansky kid over there. Let's run him out there with 6 minutes to go and let him wing it around a little bit, right?
yeah.
Instead of playing prevent offense. So that was the joke, and nobody got it. No, nobody got far enough to. How can you invent this term prevent offense and 100 and some comments I breezed through? Nobody mentioned it. It's
I
all
feel
like
like
bad.
prevent offense should have been in the headline. You don't want to,
Yes,
like, give
right.
away
Well,
the whole thing, but
back in the old days, it would have PJ's specialty prevent offense.
yeah.
That would have
Or
been.
if you wanted to go clickbait, which is what that's
That's
the
what we're doing now.
I just coincidentally opened up my whatever browser where they give you all the MSN headlines, and it's
Mhm.
like Shaquille O'Neal, shocking statements, whatever. Could
Yeah,
it have
right.
been PJ Fleck
Yes.
invents revolutionary new
Yes. Right.
offensive
Right.
tactic?
That's
Oh, I
right.
want to click on that
It
and
could have
see.
been that, but and then somebody might have actually read more than the first paragraph. So anyway,
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
okay. We had our Super Bowl against Nebraska. Nothing
Yeah.
else, Matt. Go beat Wisconsin and get Luke Fickle fired, and I'll be good for another year.
What's Luke gonna cost? What's he gonna cost? Because we're up
A
to
lot.
I think the stat yesterday was 160 million or something. But Kelly now wins the prize, right? 50 some. He's the best, but Franklin's close to that. Kelly and Franklin are worth 100 million of the 150.
Yeah. Did we? I don't think we talked. I haven't talked to you about this because since Brian Kelly got fired, but the athletic director for LSU, who hired and now is firing Brian Kelly, I believe, was
Yeah,
also the athletic director at Texas A&M when they hired Jimbo Fisher.
and
So
fired him for 70, right?
yes. So this dude comes in as a swashbuckling AD, and you better find $50 million for the buyout alone before that dude
Yes,
leaves town. By the
yeah,
way,
it
it's a
is.
$25 million Luke Fickle buyout if and when it
Okay.
happens.
Well, that's pretty hefty for Wisconsin because they are not, despite some success, they aren't big spenders over there. And Fickle was a big spender for that. Paul Christ. Somewhere, as I've said this before, but somewhere Paul Christ is chuckling, isn't he? That
Yeah.
that he got fired for only having a couple of 7 and 5 years after being 10-2 every year. So
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And then our guy Lane Kiffin looks like I don't know when this is going to come to fruition because Ole Miss could actually wind up playing into mid-January if they
Yes,
keep winning games. But
we're
like it sounds like Florida has very clearly cleared the decks and are putting a full court press on to get Lane Kiffin.
and Lane Kiffin is as happy as he is at Ole Miss is a 5 year guy, isn't? I mean, he's sometimes less than that because he lasted 10 minutes at Southern Cal, right? But he's a big personality, man. We could have had him at one time. He had that, Bloomington loyalty, grew up here, the whole thing. But he wouldn't have stayed anyway, so it doesn't.
No, he was
One
like
thing
1 year at
amazing.
Tennessee too. He'll bolt in a year if he gets a better
One thing
job.
amazing is PJ is still here after 9 years. Could you imagine that when he got the job? You always thought he'd be a mover like 4 or 5 years, right?
Yeah, it's actually I would have taken the under on
Yeah.
5.5 or 6.5 years for him. And now I know people get. I think a previous version of myself would have been putting PJ Fleck on a hot seat maybe like 15 or 20 years
No.
ago. He's all right. Yeah, you can't get
This,
your ass kicked like that against Iowa, but
despite the headline, I'm not calling for him to get fired here. I'm not calling for him to get fired. I was just having a little fun. Anyway,
and
I
the
got
problem
one
is now
more.
he's only going to see the headline and he's going to be
Yes.
upset with
Oh,
you for the
God.
first
Yes.
time and he's going to
Yes.
ruin your
Yeah.
relationship,
Yes. Yeah. We're not going to be tight anymore. Hey, we haven't been tight since they had him on the Saints on the Wild game, screaming and shouting and going nuts to fire them up. And they were behind when they played it. They were behind 2-0, and they didn't score. Right? They got shut out. And that was the year that the last 2 or 3 games the Gophers didn't score either. Remember they had
Oh,
30 to
yeah.
nothing or something. And I said, I just made a crack, just like his football team, they didn't score or something. And that's when Heather went to Twitter and asked why I was such a terrible person. And I said, balance is why I was such a terrible person. And then that turned into a big flop.
I do
So,
remember that. Yeah.
yes.
Fighting with the wife. Yeah.
One more thing I got on my mind today. I was driving out here to Apple Valley, and I kind of took a detour through Bloomington. Over there, I wanted to look at Dawn Golf Course because I was thinking that it's got to be 50 years when they opened that public course up, and it's one of the busiest in the country. It looked gorgeous, but when Bloomington in the 60s and 70s, you drive around there, 80s, that was America's dream right there for the suburban family. They got sprawling athletic fields. They got all these facilities over there. And they got the houses that are not, some of the West Bloomington houses are great, but they got the houses that have one more bedroom than the Richfield houses had. When they move out there, and you can just see America in the 1980s when you're driving through Bloomington and what everybody aspired to be out there where the kids could go to a park and do it. All the facilities are still there. It's just you don't see as many kids running around anymore.
Yeah. No, it's kind of amazing how much it's. I feel like it's like the cities have just like it's like a wave of. We've filled the space in
Yeah,
some of these.
and
Maple
then
Grove. I mean, I grew up in like the fringes of
oh
Maple
yeah,
Grove, and Weaver Lake Road, the exit off
Yes,
94. There was like when our family moved over there was like a Cub Foods and Arby's, and they just opened a Kohl's and Jay
yes.
Cousineau's Sports Bar, and now it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, even before that, there was a Super Value sitting on the corner and a gas station, and that was it.
yeah.
And there was wide open spaces, and now it's the dangest shopping area. What is funny is though that little bar that sits over there in the neighborhood, big Viking bar. I can't remember what the name of it is. I went there last year to watch the playoff
Oh,
game.
the Lookout.
The Lookout, yeah, the Lookout. Says, you're driving around down the street, and all of a sudden, in the middle of this residential area is the Lookout. Big Viking bar there. So
Yeah, we used to do I think the first Vikings Ventline radio shows. We used to go
okay,
out
the
there
Lookout.
and do them, and they had like chili cook-offs and stuff. It was like
I,
Leslie
I
Frazier's final season. It was
I
bad.
was. It was a Monday night, so they don't. The guy told me they don't pack them in like they do on Sundays because a lot of they're all working people there, and a lot of them leave at 5 in the morning to go to jobs. Plus, the day I was there for the Rams game, a lot of people left at halftime before Sam got killed. So it was
Yep.
not. That was the playoff game, but. Anyway, that was my observation driving through Bloomington. Man, this is where we all wanted to be able to afford to buy a house.
Yep. Yep. Amen. All right. Well, we'll talk some baseball on Friday, and we'll see how many more times Louis Varland gets into a game
Come
between now
on,
and then.
Louis. I got to tell you, uh, who was it? One of the not Kenny. Yeah, Kenny Rosenthal, my buddy Kenny, was doing that interview, and it was how does Louis Varland how is the how is with Louis Varland able to pitch every day, and I'm screaming at the TV because he's a wrestler. That's why.
Yeah.
He had more wins than any North St. Paul wrestler in the world. Give me a wrestler anyway. Where I'll take on the world with a wrestler. So,
He's tough. He is
yes,
tough.
yes.
All
All
right.
right.
We'll let you get back on the road here, and we'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, Phil. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Reusse Unchained, Score North.